Hi, this is Brad with Copper Creek Cuts, a lawn care company in Northeast Florida, and today we've got a call for a sprinkler system that won't turn on. So we're going to take a look at it. This is apparently a property that's been a rental for a while. I guess the owners are trying to sell it, so the real estate agent called me and asked if I could take a look. They just said that they weren't able to get it to turn on. The first step is to take a look at our backflow preventer, which is where water from the city comes in to the property. If you take a look here, you can see this valve is perpendicular. That means water can't get through. So if it were straight, water would be able to go through. The reason somebody turned this off is right here. This backflow preventer is no good. This is coming from the city. This test port is before this shut-off valve, and I believe this is going to be the issue. So these three, nothing should come on. This one, water should come out, and then when I turn this on, we should have water spurting out of here. And the way that you test these is just by turning these quarter turn to open. So see, now nothing's coming out of that one. We'll close it back up. Nothing's coming out of that one. Nothing's coming out of that one. And when we move over here to the city one, we should have, yep. So we've got water from the city. So that's good. So when we open this up, so you can already see that water is dripping out of there. See that? Yep, I just got a shower. I already took one this morning, but I guess it's good to have another. Off there. Yeah, so that's the issue. The reason the customer couldn't get the sprinkler system to turn on is because the backflow preventer is shut off. There's no water flow to the system, and somebody did that because this probably just it wasn't used for many years, so it probably went through the freeze and thaw cycles, which don't happen often here in Florida, but you wait enough years, you'll get some pretty cold winters. And I believe this house might be getting around 10 years old, so it's had its time. But anyways, this backflow preventer will need to be replaced, and this one is a Febco, an 850 Febco, 1-inch HB, so that'll need to be replaced. And unfortunately, that's something that I don't keep in stock because they're very expensive parts. So it's just a real quick visit. I think we've been here about 5 or 6 minutes, so now we know what's wrong, and we can go ahead and tell them and give them a quote for repairing that part of the system. The other thing that's tricky about irrigation is there could be any number of things wrong with it in addition to that, but I won't know until that backflow preventer is fixed. So anyways, that was a quick and easy visit for troubleshooting. If we do get the job, the bid, then we'll show you repairing it. I've already got a video on repairing one of those, which you can see here. All right, well, it's me a few days later, and excuse me, very early this morning. We're trying to beat the Florida heat. I think we're in another 100-degree day, so it's 6:45 in the morning right now. But anyways, we did get the bid for the backflow preventer repair, so we are here doing that. One of the nice things about irrigation work, don't need a trailer. Some people have asked about my setup for irrigation, and unfortunately it's pretty sad. It's just a bunch of tool bags and boxes that don't really have a home until I have an irrigation job, and then I just shove them in my truck. So maybe one day that'll look nicer. So the first thing we're going to do is shut the water off, and in order to do that, there were 2 water mains next to this property. I don't know which one we need, so what we're going to do is turn this on just a little bit. Just a little. Just like that. So now we know water's coming out of it. And then when we go shut the water main off, if we shut the right one, that'll stop. This is I don't know what they call this, a curb key tool or something. They're 10 bucks at Lowe's. They just make it easier to turn off. And since I've been here last, somebody did some digging. Not necessarily something you couldn't do by hand, but this tool just makes it a lot easier. You don't have to bend down. You don't have to get your hands dirty in the box. It's just a nice tool to have. And it looks like our water is dying down. So that was the right one. We're still gonna have some pressure, which we'll relieve here in just a second. I'm gonna run back to the truck and get my tools, and we will pick up where we left off. Okay, so we've got all our tools here just off camera. One thing to notice here, this may indicate a repair in the past, the fact that there's these unions here. Or it could just be that's how they installed it. Normally they would just run a straight pipe up. But I guess they could have done it like that to begin with. So one thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna replace this insulation wrap. This just helps protect against freezing. It's not necessarily the reason why it failed. But one thing you want to do is make sure you cut this so that if you needed to, you could put it back on. So certainly not to impute any bad motives, but if you ever had a customer who didn't pay and you put in a new one of these, the easiest thing to do is just come back, snip your old one off, or snip the new one off and then put the old one back on. That way you don't lose a very expensive piece of equipment in that backflow preventer. So if we did ever put a slip joint in, that's how much we need. So we'll just cut a little bit lower than that. And again, I've got a video that covers this already, so I'm not going to really focus on getting the best camera angles because there's already a video that does that. And this stuff is so thin-walled, and who knows how long it's been without insulation, and the rising sun has been beaten. You can see I can kind of bend it with just my hand, so you got to be really careful when you're cutting it and almost saw through it with the blade rather than pinch it, because it'll crack really easily. And you can see actually how I cracked it a little bit there. Thankfully I didn't crack it here, which is the important one. So here's our new backflow preventer. You can see it looks pretty much the exact same as our old. All right, moment of truth. Now we're gonna go turn the water on, see if she holds. Okay, that really scared me. I forgot. I had opened my test port. As soon as I turned the water on, it started shooting out, and I was like, oh my gosh, I messed something up. Thankfully, this is just for getting to turn something off. And the way it was shooting up too, I was like, great, this whole thing just exploded. Okay, so yeah, this is where the water comes in from the city before this is turned off, so forgot about that. So we'll try it again. Oh, now that is a beautiful sight. Not a leak anywhere. Okay, now we are going to slowly open. Actually, we gotta close these or else that same thing will happen, won't it? What we're going to do is we're going to leave them open just the littlest bit so we can kind of bleed the air out slowly. I don't want any kind of pressures building up too fast. So now we're going to have water coming out of here. Let's close that. There we go. Now I got some water coming out of here. So let's close that one. And then here in a second, we should have some water bleeding out of this one. Yep, there we go. And got all the air out of that one. And now let's slowly open this one. Okay, so now water's coming through this whole system and we should be good. We're going to give it slowly full pressure. All right, there we go. We don't have any leaks, which is great news. If you see dripping, that's from the rose bush over here. Perfect. Can't tell you how happy that makes me. All right, so we've got our new backflow preventer in. Let's go take a picture of it for the customer, and then we'll wrap it up and insulate it.